Welcome to Turn Academy. This is the weekend ending January 24th. Hope you have a good time. Enjoy what you see. See you next week. This golfer is very handsy. He has a tendency to want to manipulate the golf club. Probably pretty good with tools, but he's got to learn to let this one do its thing. It's kind of like sawing wood with a handsaw. You can't force it. What he does, right away in the takeaway, you see all kinds of manipulation going on with the club. He's going to turn the hands almost instantly. See that? How they're turning? The head's going to lift up. He's going to get himself out of position, get the club way behind him. It's almost stuck. That's what they call that, a stuck position. And then a little over the top move right there. So instead of the elbow being down, so the elbow, this elbow right there should be down there. It shouldn't be up high and out to the right. Leverage going out. Makes good contact. And he gets a good shot off. But his frustration is he doesn't do it all the time. And that's because a little bit of his technique is getting in the way. If he did less with his hands, see how right here, how open he turns that club and takes it to the inside? That's what's causing him a problem. This golfer is very handsy. He has a tendency to want to manipulate the golf club. Probably pretty good with tools, but he's got to learn to let this one do its thing. It's kind of like sawing wood with a handsaw. You can't force it. What he does, right away in the takeaway, you see all kinds of manipulation going on with the club. He's going to turn the hands almost instantly. See that? How they're turning? The head's going to lift up. He's going to get himself out of position, get the club way behind him. It's almost stuck. That's what they call that, a stuck position. And then a little over the top move right there. So instead of the elbow being down, so the elbow, this right there should be down there. It shouldn't be up high and out to the right. His leverage going out. Makes good contact. And he gets a good shot off. But his frustration is he doesn't do it all the time. And that's because a little bit of his technique is getting in the way. If he did less with his hands, see how right here, how open he turns that club and takes it to the inside? That's what's causing him a problem. Perhaps the most misunderstood part of the golf swing is the structure of the shoulders, arms, and the golf club. It creates a triangle with the golf club shooting down to the center of the triangle. That triangle, where the golf club meets the triangle, shouldn't move. It should rotate. But if you notice, as we go forward on this swing, you're going to see the bottom of her triangle moves. The bottom has to stay the same. The other thing that happens, it does a pretty good job of keeping the triangle intact on the way back. Not bad to about here, but right now we're going to see the lead elbow come flying out of the triangle and break down. What that does, I'm going to blow this up, is puts the right hand underneath the golf club. Right hand under the golf club is what we call a scoop shot. If we were to look at that right hand over here, notice the hands. The lead hand is pointing backwards. The forward hand is pointing forward. The back hand is pointing forward. They need reverse positions here, and they don't. That's called a flip or a scoop. There's no extension here. The triangle is broke down. Look at the length of this triangle. The length of this triangle is all the way out to where this line is here. She gets way outside of it here, then inside of it here. She's got to turn the body and the hands. The hands turn from the shoulders. The shoulders cannot move or rotate if that lead arm is bent backwards like that. You've got to extend the arms that way. This is a tough one. It's really hard. I know she struggles. She's a brand new golfer, so she's doing really well. The yellow lines describe the angle of the club and the arms. 152 degrees. It should be about 144 degrees. The hands are a little high. You can see that he's away from his natural. If you just let his right hand drop off the club, it would hang slower. The white line is a spine angle. What you're going to see is that on the way back, he goes really low behind and under the swing plane. So the club is actually behind him here. He's moved the club a whole lot more than he's turned. So the relationship with the club and his spine is not the same. He gets up to the top, and you watch what happens here. Look where the elbow is. You see this little spot right out here? The elbow now is creating an energy that way. So he's going to move the hands that way. See that? What he needs to learn how to do, and it's not easy, he needs to learn how to drop the right elbow down instead of out. See how it didn't come down? We hear all the time, I'm going to clear this out of the way so you can see it. We want to see this elbow move down in front of this hip. It goes out over the top. That's changing all your spine angles. That's throwing the club well outside your hands. That club should still be inside the hands. What I mean by that is still back in here somewhere. And it goes out over the top. Now he's standing straight up at this point. Hits a thin shot. Hits it straight, but it didn't go anywhere. So what he's got to do is he's got to learn how to drop the club down. The way my grandpa taught me, go to the top of your back swing, drop down, turn. Top, drop, turn. The yellow line shows his real spine tilt. He's got a very curved back. He's leaning forward, but he's not leaning forward down at the hip level. He's leaning forward more at the waist, which caused the curve in his back. The curve in your back means you can't rotate simply around that straight line, which is the white line. What we'd like to see, and I'll draw in let's do a blue line here. Drawing a blue line. We'd like to see his back be straight on that line, which means he's obviously going to have to straighten it up a little bit. A couple of ways to do that. One is to put the handle of the grip of the club against the back of your head. Bring the club down against your spine as you're standing straight up. Hold that tight against your butt and then bend over at your hips. See if you can keep that line straight. What this causes is a golf swing that's going to go way inside. It's kind of go like this. You'll see this as it goes back. See how it comes way inside and then up. He's not able to turn comfortably. And then he squats down and he's going to come way up and out of the shot again. The club needs to reroute the other way of the green line, but it doesn't. It reroutes way over the top, comes out from the inside. The club face is now pointing dead to the right as he comes into the ball, still to the right, and then he hits a glancing blow and off to the right it goes. When he got here today, he said, I'm hitting everything to the right. Well, we know why, but learning how to solve that is practice, practice, practice. Spend some time in front of a mirror, look at your swing, try to figure out why you're doing what you're doing, and be aware of your own body motions. The coach can tell you what to do, maybe even how to do it, but we can't make you do it. You've got to do that yourself. One of the things I like to see is when the spine angle and the golf club angle are about 90 degrees. This is a good setup. She's going to make a few mistakes here, but she's got great rhythm and tempo in the swing. Let's just move forward in slow motion and watch. Nice and smooth. Little lift there, but nice and smooth. Back through and down the middle. You know something, folks? You don't have to be perfect, but look how close she is. She's on the line on the way back, gets back to the line on the way through, almost looks at the same spot, hits the ball, moves the throw. If she would have overswung or swung beyond her ability to control her own body, that wouldn't happen. You can golf if you hit the ball like that, and you can have fun doing it. The miss hit in golf is often caused by bad foot movement. We see a lot of times where the golfer's feet move in a way that doesn't allow them to be solidly connected to the ground. The ground is where your power comes from. What I want you to watch here, it's right here. What you're going to see is as he takes the club away, he stays pretty stationary, stays pretty planted, not bad. Right about here, you're going to start seeing that right knee moving, and then the over the top, see, way over the top, and up comes the other shift right there. that means the weight is shifting this way. We need the weight to shift to the target. I know it sounds really petty, it's really small, but all it takes is those little kind of things so we miss right there on the inside because everything is moving in the wrong direction. You're better off not moving anything at all than moving it wrong. In other words, keep your legs still and plant it if you need to. As we get older, we're better off hitting it straight than long, especially long and crooked. And we never want to hit it like this. And this is a better golfer than that. And his problem is when he comes out, that right leg is not rotating towards the left knee. It's going out towards the golf ball. That doesn't work. Stevie's had a very consistent issue with the lead arm, the left arm in this case, pulling that elbow back in behind her through the swing, which then makes her hit the ball off the toe, or sometimes miss it, and shoots it out to the right. So let's do a nice slow takeaway here. She's taking it way too far to the inside. Remember, when the club is parallel to the ground, it needs to be parallel to your toes. It's not. It's way to the inside. That means she's taking it way back more than she's turned. There's no way the shoulders have turned enough for her to get that club back this far. She keeps going, gets a pretty good turn there, and she ends up in a pretty decent position. What we'd like to see is her right elbow up on the red line and the club about in here. That's a little low. That's because she hasn't turned her left shoulder low enough. The real issue is she's coming down the plane pretty good, coming into the ball pretty good, then she pulls that elbow in. Let me clear everything out of the way so you can see. You're going to watch. See how tight she is in here? How tight. We want this elbow to be out in front of her hip. This elbow, right? This one. That elbow needs to be in front of her hip, not behind the hip. And then here comes that lead elbow. Both elbows are in front of her at setup. They need to be in front of her at impact, and they're not. They're pulling back in. Frustrating for her, but she can fix it. She knows how. You see me draw a lot of lines on the swing plane. That's the shaft plane at setup. People overuse their arms and their hands trying to figure out how to get away from the golf ball where it's supposed to be. Where the real focus needs to be how to get it back to the golf ball where it's supposed to be. So let's take a look at what happens here. Takes it back, it gets way up over the line. And again, we see the shoulders are not turning on the swing plane. That club now is between his shoulder and his neck. It needs to be here. So he can reroute the club back down where it belongs, this way, into the swing. But he doesn't. He comes over the top. See that? That's over the top. That's classic over the top. And pulls up out of the shot, swings across the ball, left to right, right to left, I'm sorry, and off to the right it goes. Very frustrating, but it's caused by what we do in the takeaway. It's putting us in a position that it's untenable. We can't work from there. So work really hard in trying to feel that club stay below the swing plane and then route itself back down under the swing plane, not over it.